Well, it was rumored that Senator Kennedy was going to run for president, and he was, for young people, he always appealed incredibly to young people. It was the way he talked. He was a young person himself, and I just thought he would give the best possible message. I was the editor of the school newspaper at the time, and of course, obviously, I think we rushed out with either an early edition or a special edition that he was going to come and be the speaker at our commencement, and I remember the feeling we all had afterward that he was going to be elected president. We were absolutely sure he was going to run for president and he was going to be elected. It was really incredible for a high school commencement because our baccalaureate speaker was the poet Robert Frost, who I also met in Washington just by chance taking walks on Saturday afternoons. I used to go take walks with him, and he agreed to come. And then we had some mutual friends who would get the invitation to Senator Kennedy, and he agreed to come. So it was remarkable. I don't remember an awful lot about what he said, except that it was dynamic. I mean, he projected so much energy. He was so youthful, and he had such a vision for the future. You know, it wasn't a materialistic vision. It was a vision of service, and it really appealed to us. You can do anything you want to do. You can help change the country. And he really gave us that message. So I started out with him when I was still a high school senior in my graduation day. He was sort of our example. He's who we wanted to be like. Unfortunately, there are not too many people. I think for a moment with President Obama, we saw that early on, that he might have been that sort of leader that started young people being interested in politics again. But Kennedy made young people interested in politics and interested in getting involved, not only in the United States, but all around the world. So it was really interesting to me to be away from home, to be outside the United States when suddenly he was killed, to see the reaction in the rest of the world. I was in England, as you know, at the time that Kennedy was killed. And I'll never forget that either. I had been rowing on the river, and I was on the rowing team back then, if you can believe that. And I was going back to my room and had to walk really through town, and near where my room was an appliance store. And I was just walking down the street, and all of a sudden I saw this really big crowd because they had the television sets in the window of the appliance shop. And they had them all turned out toward the street, and they were announcing the assassination of President Kennedy and the death of President Kennedy. And all these mainly British people were gathered around the storefront, and they started weeping. And they really took his death, and I saw that wherever I traveled around the world. You know, the fact that he just touched the world, the Peace Corps, so many things that happened. He gave people a feeling that they could make the world a better place, not just our country, not just Americans, that we could make things better, but the world could be better. And they really felt, in a way that we're living through the times now of Mandela's death, Kennedy really belonged to the world as much as he belonged to the United States. And he was admired in other countries around the world as much as anything. Who was this man Kennedy? They would ask me, what was he like? Did you ever see him? And I said, yes, I saw him. And I would tell about my brief interactions with him. And you know, it was amazing how many little shops I'd go into, or sometime if I was in some very underdeveloped country, maybe they didn't even have electricity, maybe they lived in what we would think of as tents or huts, you'd see pictures of him. They'd be tacked to the wall, and these most out-of-the-way places in the world with the most humble dwellings would have pictures of him in little shops and places. It was amazing. The world really felt that he belonged to them.